Over the past few weeks, several of you have asked if I could please share my hair care routine. Now, honestly, my hair care routine is very simple and straightforward. However, there are a few things I have incorporated over the past couple of years which have made a huge difference as far as the health, thickness, and appearance of my hair. If you're strictly interested in my hair care routine, I will link timestamps down below in the info box. But I do think it is important to first talk about hair loss and hair thinning, because while I am quite lucky as far as hair genetics, my hair hasn't always been as thick and healthy as it is now. In fact, I have struggled with extreme hair loss numerous times in my life. And while there are of course many different causes for hair loss or hair thinning, such as genetics of course, hormonal changes, nutritional deficiencies, stress, medical conditions, and medical treatments, I would go as far as to say that I have experienced every single one of them, aside from genetic hair loss. However, luckily, each time I was able to get to the root of the problem and stop and reverse my extreme hair loss. So starting at the beginning, the first time I experienced extreme hair loss was, and this probably comes as no surprise, when I was anorexic because of nutritional deficiencies. Basically, I wasn't feeding my body the nutrients it needed to make healthy hair, skin, nails, and so on. Once I recovered from being anorexic, my extreme hair loss stopped and all my hair grew back. However, a couple of years after I recovered, I was diagnosed with hypothyroidism, which I believe was a result of starving my body for several decades. But hypothyroidism is when our thyroid doesn't produce enough thyroid hormone. And it is quite common if one has hypothyroidism or even hyperthyroidism to struggle with hair loss or hair thinning. So the solution there was to go on thyroid hormone, which I have been on ever since. Once I did, my extreme hair loss stopped, and again all my hair grew back. Several years after going on thyroid hormone, I decided to go off the birth control pill, which I had been on for 20 years. I've made a couple of videos on this, which I will link down below, but basically in a nutshell, once I went off the birth control pill, my body had no idea what to do. I think because of my anorexia, my body didn't know how to produce its own hormones. So basically at age 37, I went into menopause. And amongst many other symptoms, I struggled with extreme hair loss, probably the worst I've ever had. I lost so much hair, especially in the front. I really thought I was going to go bald. So the solution there was to go on bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. Once I did, luckily, my extreme hair loss stopped, along with all the other symptoms, and all my hair grew back. A couple of years after that, I had a bad bicycle accident and I broke my neck. I had to have a double neck fusion, which of course required me to have anesthesia. After my surgery, again I experienced extreme hair loss, which apparently is quite common after anesthesia. Now, there really wasn't a solution there. My body had to just detox the anesthesia and of course recover from the overall stress the surgery had put on my body, which took several months. But eventually my extreme hair loss stopped, and again all my hair grew back. A couple of years after my surgery, I went through a very stressful relationship and eventually divorce. And once more, I was shedding like crazy. This time it was because my cortisol levels were way too high. In fact, I took a cortisol test back then, and basically my cortisol curve, which is supposed to look something like that, was off the page. So the solution there was to first of all get through my stressful divorce and practice stress management. It took several months. I want to say it took at least 6 months for my cortisol levels to slowly level out, and then eventually for my extreme hair loss to stop. And then lastly, for the past 15 years or so, I have experienced seasonal hair loss, which I also made several videos on. Again, I will link those down below in case you missed them. But basically, in a nutshell, for the past 15 years, from about June to October, I was shedding excessively. In those 15 years, I must have tried every hair supplement, every topical available on the market. Nothing helped. Until last year. Last year was the first year in 15 years I did not experience seasonal hair loss, because I finally found a solution, which I will share with you in a second. But these are the times in my life I have experienced extreme hair loss or hair shedding. And I wanted to share that with you because I know that when we are going through hair loss or hair shedding, it can be extremely anxiety provoking. I still remember every time when I found tons of my hair on my bathroom floor, my pillowcase, my clothing, in my brush, thinking, this is never going to stop. I'm going to go bald. But I truly believe that while of course you can't do much about your genetics, almost every other cause of hair loss, once identified, which might take some detective work, but once identified, can be addressed and reversed. So if you're currently struggling with hair loss or hair shedding, I hope this is helpful and is giving you some hope. But let's talk about my, again, very straightforward, maybe even boring hair care routine. So first of all, I wash my hair every 2 to 3 days. And for that, for the past, I would say 6 months or so now, I have been using the Corpus shampoo and Corpus conditioner. Both of these smell wonderful. The shampoo does a beautiful job cleansing my hair without stripping it, and the conditioner makes my hair nice and soft and manageable without weighing it down. So both of these I have been using for about 6 months now. And again, I wash my hair every 2 to 3 days. And then once a week or so, I will put some hair oil in the ends of my hair the night before I wash it. And for that, for about 3 years now, I have been using a hair oil by Erna Blue. It smells incredible, and I really like what it does for my hair. Aside from that, I don't use any styling products, so no hairspray or anything like that. And I also don't use dry shampoo. I recently purchased a dry shampoo everybody raved about, and I just didn't like the feel of it on my scalp and in my hair. I do not blow dry my hair, I just let it air dry. I don't ever use any heat tools. In fact, I don't even have any. I do have a blow dryer, but that's about it. And usually I only blow dry my hair if I'm in a rush. Let's say I want to make a video real fast and my hair is still really wet, or if it's really cold outside and I don't want to go out with wet hair. But aside from that, I just let my hair air dry. I do have a water filter on my shower because the water quality here in San Diego is not the greatest. And before I installed the water filter, I could feel my hair just having a lot of buildup, mineral buildup. So having a shower filter has made a big difference. And I will link the one I'm using down below in the info box. Let's see, aside from washing my hair every 2 to 3 days, not blow drying it, and having a shower filter, I get a haircut every 4 to 6 months. So I cut my hair about 3 times a year. Somebody asked me what I ask for when I get a haircut, and that's a great question. I usually just get a trim. I tell them to take as much off as is necessary, and then to just frame a bit around my face. I have thought about getting layers to get a bit more volume, but my hair tangles very easily, and when I have had layers in the past, it makes it worse. Also, I'm quite active, and when I work out, I like to braid my hair, so layers I think would drive me crazy. I have thought about bangs before, but my husband keeps begging me to not have bangs, and I think it would drive me crazy as well, being as active as I am and having hair in my face. So I have all one length aside from the front, where I just have them again frame it a bit. I don't color my hair. In fact, I have never colored my hair. I have gotten highlights, but right now this is my hair color. I live in San Diego and my hair bleaches out in the sun. So if I live in a sunny place like right now, I don't get highlights. What you see right now is again my hair color. I think the last time I had highlights was over a year ago. If I live in a place where there isn't a lot of sun, then I might get highlights once or twice a year, because I do have sort of a dishwasher blonde naturally before it bleaches out, and without highlights or without the sun giving me natural highlights, my hair tends to look dirty even if it's clean. Several of you have asked me what I do about gray hair. Strangely, and I say strangely because my dad was basically white at age 40, but strangely I don't have a lot of gray hair. I have a little bit right here in the front, but you can't really see it because I'm blonde. Now last year when Sam passed away, which was one of the hardest things I've ever gone through, I strangely didn't lose hair, but I did get quite a bit of gray hair. I just plucked it out back then and it hasn't returned. So it seems like when I'm under stress, I have a tendency to get a few more gray hairs. But for the most part, I just have a few in the front here, and again, you can't really see them because I'm blonde. So that's really all as far as my regular hair care routine, as far as washing it, products I use, cutting, coloring, and so on. But like I said earlier, I used to struggle with seasonal hair loss. And last year, I finally found the solution. And the solution was, and I made a whole video on that, so I won't bore you, I will link the video down below. But the solution was combining the Collagen Advanced Hair Care Serum, which I have been using for several years. It is absolutely fantastic. But combining this with, let me grab it down here, red light therapy. So this is a red light therapy hat by Higher Dose, which I wear every morning for 10 minutes. It's super easy to use. I just put it on while I get ready in the morning. And like I said, I use this every morning. And like I also said, I made a whole video on this, which I will link down below. But just in a nutshell, the way red light therapy can help with hair loss or hair growth is that it stimulates mitochondria in hair follicles, thereby boosting cellular energy or ATP and increasing blood flow. So all of this can wake up dormant hair follicles, extend the growth phase or anagen phase, and reduce inflammation. And all of that can lead to thicker, denser hair and less shedding or hair loss. And then the Collagen Advanced Hair Care System or serum, I use at this point once a week. I stamp it into my scalp, and I have been using the Collagen Advanced Hair Care System, which in a nutshell is a stem cell derived serum that encourages hair follicle activity, reduces shedding, and increases hair density by stimulating dormant follicles. There are some incredible before and after pictures on the Collagen website, and I have a couple of friends who also use the serum and rave about it as much as I do. But I have been using the Collagen Advanced Hair Care System for several years now. I want to say maybe 4 years. And I did feel that this by itself did help with my seasonal hair loss. It probably cut it in about half. So I was shedding about half as much as before I was using this. But combining this with regular red light therapy has made the hugest difference, to the point where, again, last year was the first year I didn't experience any seasonal hair loss, and knock on wood, this year I won't either. I will keep you posted. Let's see, what else can I tell you? I don't take any hair vitamins. I take my share of supplements, which you will know if you've been here for a little while, but nothing hair specific. Throughout the 15 years I have struggled with seasonal hair loss, I probably tried every hair supplement available on the market, as well as every topical available on the market. None of them until this made any difference. So I don't take a hair specific supplement. I also don't take collagen. I take a collagen precursor, which contains the amino acids, glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline needed to make collagen, as well as some cofactors needed to make collagen. I can't tell you that I can see a difference as far as the health of my hair from that supplement, but I have been using that supplement for a couple of years now and I like taking it. But again, no hair specific supplements and no topicals aside from the Collagen advanced hair care system. I'm trying to think what else I can tell you about my hair care routine. Let's see, I did make myself a few notes here just so I don't forget anything. I think that's really it. Like I said, it is quite straightforward, probably even boring, but hopefully you enjoyed this video. I would love to know, what is your hair care routine? Do you have any secrets for healthy big hair? Have you struggled with hair loss? And if so, did you get to the bottom of it and were you able to reverse it? Let us know down in the comments. Any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Always love to hear from you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, bye.